Yo, welcome to part two of the NBA standings. There we go. Welcome to part two. For this one, we're going to be doing the Western Conference now. The lighting looks so much better. I do not look as white. Um, all right, this looks better. All right, there we go. So yeah, we got the Western Conference. We're just gonna tip off right away with this one. Actually, before we get into this video, subscribe if you are not subscribed. Leave a like on this video and turn on post notifications if you have not. And let me know what you guys thought about the Eastern Conference predictions, and let me know what you guys think about these predictions that I'm about to do right now. And let's get into it. So the thing that is tough about the Western Conference is figuring out the teams that are not going to make the play-in tournament, because there are so many teams in the Western Conference that I think can make a push to the playoffs, but that I have out. But starting out at the bottom of the barrel, I got OKC, if I can find them. There they are. Probably going to be the worst team in the NBA this year. I love me some Josh Giddey. I love me some Shea. But yeah, they're just not good. So that's what we got there. They're in a rebuild. So and then 14th we got the Spurs. Where are they? Yeah, I mean the Spurs. I once again I feel like are a team that could probably be here, maybe even make a push to the play-in tournament just because of Greg Popovich and his coaching abilities, and they got so many young players who I think could break out, like a Keldon Johnson, a DeJounte Murray, a Devin Vassell, a Lonnie Walker. Like they got a lot of young guys that could really excel on the Spurs team. But realistically, with just how good the West is, I just think the Spurs need more time to get these younger players developed. So I got them at 14. Joshua Primo, I think he's gonna have some big moments this year as well. And at 13th, I got the Rockets sitting right there at 13. I think the Rockets will be sneaky competitive in a lot of games, but will just end up losing. Like I feel like KPJ, Jalen Green could get the hot hand at any night, and defenses just won't be able to stop them. But at the same time, they're just going to give up hella points. So I do like the direction the Rockets are going in, though. Like they got a lot of just like sneaky good players, like Christian Wood. Yeah, they got a lot of guys that on any given night could just drop 20 or 30 points. But yeah. And then sitting at the 12 seed, we got the Pelicans. If you guys saw my Pelicans video, I wasn't very big on the Pelicans and what they're doing right now. Zion's probably going to miss the first month or two of the season trying to get in shape, I guess, for the season after having that injury. Devontae Graham, I don't consider him an upgrade from Lonzo Ball. If anything, I consider him a downgrade. I don't know how Pelicans fans feel about that, but yeah, I mean, Brandon Ingram, he's going to have a great year. As soon as Zion comes back, he's going to have a great year. I just think the Pelicans are sort of stuck right now in a position where, like, they're trying to make the playoffs, but yet, like, they got to get these young guys going together. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I think he's in contention for being most improved player of the year. So they do have a lot of promise, but they also, I know where they're probably going to end up, you know? If all things click, they could easily be like an 8 seed, you know? But I just don't see that happening. And then just barely missing the play-in tournament, we got the Kings. It's just going to be the same thing with the Kings every year. They're going to look like they can make a playoff push, and then they miss out because they're missing some other star players. You know, other guys who could help out De'Aaron Fox. I mean, they got some good role players. They got their Buddy Hields. They got their Harrison Barnes. I love Davion Mitchell. I think he's going to have a huge impact for the Kings defense, which is pretty bad. So he'll definitely be a big part of that. Tyrese Halliburton coming in on his second year, I think, is going to be good. But yeah, the Kings, we know what we're going to get from the Kings. 10 seed, I'm going with the Timberwolves. I like the Timberwolves. I think the Timberwolves could be a sneaky team this year. You know, I think they could win the play-in tournament and then make it into the playoffs. I love the big three they got going on there with D'Lo, Cat, and Anthony Edwards, and then you got guys like Malik Beasley who are coming off the bench and could get you 20 plus. You got Patrick Beverley just to bring that veteran leadership and defensive mentality. The main thing I'm worried about is the Timberwolves on the defensive side of the ball. You know, by having a guy like Patrick Beverley, I think that helps a lot. But yeah, they could use those guys, especially on the wing. They're lacking when it comes to having guys on the wing help them out. So, and then at the 9 seed, we got the Memphis Grizzlies. I picture them in the 7 to 10 area. The Grizzlies. I don't see them being a 1 through 6 team, and I don't see them not. I mean, they're going to make the play-in tournament at least. Ja Morant's gonna have a big time year. I love what I see from Ja Morant. I think Jonas Valanciunas might hurt them this year, though. I think he was a big part. Not that Steven Adams is necessarily bad, but I think when it comes to the offensive side of the ball, I think they're going to put too much trust and reliance into Ja Morant to have those big-time, like 30-point games, and he's just not going to be able to do it every night. So, yeah. And then at the 8th seed, I got the Clippers. This is sort of back to like Paul George with the Pacers, sort of like near the end of the Pacers when they were starting to lose like their big time players like Monte Ellis and stuff like that. PG's gonna he could have an MVP year, like he really can. I mean, with no Kawhi for pretty much the whole season, it's just gonna be all Paul George. So, you know, it's sort of same in a sense. It's the same with the Grizzlies team, as in like you're putting a lot of trust and reliance into one player. Obviously the Clippers do have some pretty good depth. I'd say they don't have great depth, but they got guys like Luke Kennard. They got guys like Eric Bledsoe. I think Terrence Mann is going to have himself a Most Improved Player of the Year candidate. I think he'll do good. But yeah, this is where I see the Clippers. And then at the 7th seed, I have the Dallas Mavericks. I see them fitting around this 6 to 8 range right here. Luka is just such a good player that he's gonna make the Dallas Mavericks a good team. We'll see with Kristaps Porzingis if he gets traded or not. If he doesn't get traded, even with Porzingis not playing his best games, he's gonna have some games where he goes off. So that should probably help him a little bit. I think their depth is definitely better from last year. But if the Mavericks want to make that push to be a 1 through 4 playoff team, they need to get a superstar player next to Luka Doncic, which was meant to be Porzingis, but that's not going to happen. So, and then at the 6th seed, we got the Trailblazers. Dame Dolla is struggling. I think he's shooting 2 for 25 from the 3-point line right now, but he'll get it going. It's Damian Lillard. Anyone who thinks he's not going to get it going and is going to stay like this is they're just brain dead. That's pretty much all I have to say there. But, yeah, I think the Trailblazers right here is good. They don't have enough to make them a top 4 team, but Damian Lillard by himself, having guys like CJ McCollum, Nurkic, we know what the Trailblazers are like. So, yeah, we got them at the 6th seed. And then over at the 5th seed, we got the Warriors. Yeah, I think that's a good spot for the Warriors, especially when Klay comes back. He's going to help them out a lot. Jordan Poole, he's going to have himself a really good year. Everyone's just hopping on the Jordan Poole train right now, but he really is a bucket. Steph Curry, Draymond Wiggins, they got a lot of bench depth this year, even with guys like Otto Porter, Bielika, is that how you say it? Bielika. They got a lot of guys who can come off the bench, which is something that the Warriors didn't have last year. So I think adding that is just going to make them so much better. And we know what Curry can do, just absolutely taking over games by himself. We saw a lot of that last year. So with Steph Curry being able to take over games and having the supporting cast that he has, I think the Warriors could be a dangerous team this year. And then at the 4 seed, I got the Suns. Chris Paul, I think with Chris Paul, he's not going to be great during the regular season. I think a lot of people are going to look at Chris Paul this season in the regular season and be like, oh, he's over, he's getting too old, he fell off. And then in the playoffs, we're going to start seeing the CP3 that we know. But yeah, CP3, a lot of the regular season is just going to be, making sure he's rested, making sure he stays healthy for when playoffs come. It's going to be a lot of Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton. I think guys like Cam Johnson are going to get bigger, improved roles. They also did make a lot of changes from last year, so in that sense, I just don't think they're going to be good enough to remain a top 2 to 3 seeded team. So I think at 4 is a good spot for them to be at. And then over at the 3 seed, we got the Lakers. I know that could be a little bit surprising. People are probably expecting me to put them at 1 or 2. The Lakers, obviously, they're in a little bit of a struggle right now. They're not looking good. They blew like a 26-point lead against the OKC Thunder or something like that, which was absolutely crazy. It's going to take them a while to get things going, but once they do, I think they're going to be solid. I would say I'm concerned about injuries with Anthony Davis, Westbrook, and LeBron, but at the same time, like if 1 or 2 of them goes out, they're still going to have at least one star player play. So I think the Lakers for the regular season, top 3 is pretty much guaranteed, especially once they get stuff going. At the 2 spot, I have the Nuggets, which I know the 2 seed is pretty high for the Nuggets without having their second best player in Jamal Murray for most of the season, if not all of the season. But this Nuggets team is just built for the regular season, man. I mean, Jokic, you got Michael Porter, who can have another breakout year like he did last year. Aaron Gordon, I think, is going to start having a more improved role. Really big fan of Monte Morris. I think he could be a big impact for Jamal Murray being out. So yeah, the Nuggets, they're just built for the regular season. That's pretty much all I got to say. And we're going to see another MVP year from Jokic. And then number 1, we got the Utah Jazz. The number 1 seed 2 years in a row. Once again, just another regular season built type team. They had some nice pickups in free agency. Not any big time stars, but they re-signed Mike Conley. They got Eric Pascal, which I think is going to help with getting more guys who could score off the bench other than just Jordan Clarkson. And if the Utah Jazz want to play small ball, which they weren't really able to do last year, they could run Eric Pascal at the 5. Now, I know that's kind of ugly on defense, but if you need, that's how the Jazz lost to the Clippers. The Clippers were running a lot of Nicholas Batum at the 5 and just taking advantage of Rudy Gobert being on the court, and that's how they beat them. The Jazz were like, all right, you know what? Let's look to see maybe if we could get a guy who could play some small ball 5. At least that's what I think they're doing. And Eric Pascal, I thought, was a really good pickup for the contract they got him for. And they still got their role players. They got their Joe Ingles. They're going to be that 3-and-D type team, which is going to be dangerous for the regular season. So I really like the Utah Jazz being back-to-back 1 seeds once again. And obviously, we can't forget about Donovan Mitchell. I can't speak. I'm getting tired. But yeah, that was the end of this regular season 1 here for the Western Conference. I'll zoom out so you guys could get a look at it here. If you want to pause to take a look, feel free to do so. I like the predictions I did this year. I really like how I have these set up. If you would change anything, let me know. And I will see you all for next week's video. And peace.